Hello, my name's Debbie and I work on the Careerpilot team at the University of Bath. While students are studying at home, we've decided to put together some online sessions that students can work through so that they can use Careerpilot to find out more about their skills and the jobs that they might want to do in the future. During the session, there'll be some activities that you can do online, as well as a worksheet that you can download and complete whilst you're completing the activities. So hopefully by the end of the session, you'll know how to use Careerpilot to find out more about your skills and the jobs that you might want to do in the future. So here goes. So as we said, today is all about learning about skills and how those skills might be useful for jobs and careers in the future. So the 4 pictures on the screen are jobs that you probably are familiar with, and you probably could be able to tell me the skills that are useful for those particular jobs. So a maths teacher is probably good at maths and has probably been to university to study maths at a higher level. But teachers need to be good at communication, and they also need to be well organised, and they also need to be good at managing their time. Nurses and doctors, they may have studied medicine or science or nursing at university, but there are lots of other skills that you would want in a doctor or a nurse. They need to be empathic, they need to be sympathetic, and they need to be really good at communication. Chefs and graphic designers, as you can see from the pictures, need to be good at the finer detail. They need to be patient. They might be having to meet deadlines. And so all of these things are skills that are really useful for those particular jobs. So today we're going to find out more about the skills that you've currently got, the skills that you might need to develop, and the skills that particular jobs need and are useful. Boris Johnson, who's been in the news a lot currently, he needs lots of skills also. He needs to be able to communicate, and he needs to be able to lead his team, and he needs to be able to get the country to do the things that he's asking. So we're going to be using Careerpilot. Careerpilot is a free website, a careers information website that's available for all students from Year 7 to Year 13. It's designed for students to find out more about their careers, pathways, courses, and there's the ability to save what you do in a section called Career Tools. So each time you use the website, you can bookmark and save your results to quizzes and so on, and so that information is saved for the next time that you use Careerpilot. Every year your report is saved and moves up with you, and you can send that report to your teachers or careers advisor, or share that with your parents so they too can see the types of things that you're thinking about for your future job or career. So in a moment I'll share my screen, and so you'll be able to see the different parts of the website that we're going to be using today. This is the home page, and as you'll see in the top right hand corner of the screen, this is where you can register and set up an account on Careerpilot, and each time you use the site, log in and save what you do. And this section called Career Tools contains all the different parts of the site in which you can save things that you're looking at. And again, I'll talk through that in more detail. So these are the parts of the site that we're going to be using. There's a job sectors part, which is where you can find lots of information about jobs that you're familiar with, and lots of jobs that you've possibly never heard of. And in that section you can find out more about salary, qualifications, and the pathways that people take in order to do those jobs. We'll also be using the 3-stage process. The 3-stage process is common in careers, and it involves finding out more about yourself, your likes, your dislikes, your personality, and how that might influence the type of job that you would be suited to. You then go on to explore all of the options, including finding out more about jobs or pathways, and that might include apprenticeships or university pathways. And then the final step in the 3-step process is to plan your next steps. And so today you could be thinking about the things that you could be doing in order to secure the dream job. And there are other sections of the website that you could start with. So it might be that you've got to choose your GCSEs either this year or next year. And so it might be that you start to look at how to do that, or it might be that you look beyond that and start to look at A-levels or vocational qualifications, college, and so on. there's lots and lots of areas of the site that could be useful to finding out more. So let's start. This is the main section that you'll be using today, and it's Start With You. And in Start With You, there's lots and lots of activities to get you started. So we're going to be looking at the activities for your age. So you'll click on Start With You, and then Activities for Your Age, and then obviously, because you're in Year 8 currently, you'll click on the Year 8 button. And that then will talk you through the various tasks that will be relevant for your particular age group. And just to summarise, these are the 5 things that we're going to try and do during this session. So you'll register on Careerpilot if you're new to the site. If you've already used the site at school, it might be that you've already got an account, so you simply sign in. There is a forgotten password facility, so if you can't remember how to log on, you can simply reset your password. We're then going to move on to something called the Pre-16 Skills Map, and this is a quiz that will allow you to identify the skills that you've got and the skills that you might need to work on. That leads us nicely on to exploring jobs. And when we're looking at job sectors and job profiles, you'll be able to start to see the skills that are required for those particular jobs and any gaps that you've got. We'll then move on to start with a subject, and this is where you could start to think about your GCSE choices and start to think about where those options might lead to. And finally, number 5, it's where you can start to think about the choices you're going to make, whether that's choosing your GCSEs or whether that's looking to when you're in Year 11 perhaps and starting to think about your post-16 options, and all the time thinking about things you can be doing to try and get to the job that you're thinking about. So I'll talk you through this in more detail, but we're going to first of all register or sign in, and the screen looks like this. And it's just really important to say that once you have set up an account with Careerpilot, to try and remember the login details that you used. So try and use either a personal email address or a school email address. The postcode is simply there for us to find out which regions or which areas are using the site. And there's an ability to put yourself into your school and your year group. Okay, so I'm now on the Careerpilot website, and to find that you can simply just put Careerpilot, all one word, into Google, and it should be one of the top things that comes up in the recommended results. So this is the home page, and as you can see, there's a lot to it. The career tools are on the right hand side of my screen, and I can scroll down to show you the whole of the site. Depending on what you're using, whether you're using a mobile phone or a tablet or a laptop, the screen may look slightly differently. It might be that this grey section doesn't appear immediately. You may have to click on 3 little bars in the top right to find career tools. So there might be a little bit of a difference depending on the monitor that you're using. So the first step is to register if you've not used Careerpilot before. And as I said, you're just simply putting your details, remembering the email address that you've used, and just try and type that in correctly. Some school email addresses are particularly long, and so just make sure that you put all the dots in the right place. And a password, so try and use a password that you regularly use, so you can simply go back onto that at a later date. Where it asks you to put in your school, you can simply start typing in the name of your school, and it should appear in the drop-down list for you to just simply click on, and then that will select the school. And you can select Year 8 for your year group. Where it asks you to complete the captcha code, that's simply a matter of typing in whatever appears in this grey box, and that's just to prove you're not a robot or a spammer. And you finally click on Next, and it will just ask you to agree to the terms and conditions. So as I said, I've already set up an account, so I'm going to simply sign in, which is what you should do if you've already got an account. And here is a forgotten password button, so if you have got an account but you can't quite remember the password, you can reset it there. So I'll click on sign in, and this page is a page that you will get to. So as I said, you could just do some general exploration, but ideally what we want you to do is complete the activities for your age group. So to find those, you click on Start With You, Activities for Your Age, Year 8, and then you're going to work through the activities that are suggested there. So you've already completed number 1, you've registered or signed in, and so we're going to move on to number 2, which is completing the pre-16 skills map to find out more about the skills you have. So you click on complete the pre-16 skills map, and this is the screen that you will get, and create pre-16 skills map. You can call it year 8, and you click on next. And so you're going to work your way through the questions, and it asks you what hobbies and interests you've got, because each of these things will allow you to have gained some skills, and it might be that they are inside of school or outside of school. It will ask you what experiences you've had, and so read the questions carefully and tick any that apply. I'm just whizzing through them just to show you how to do it. What skills and qualities you already think you have, so can you work independently, can you communicate effectively? So again, tick any that you think apply. And then the final page is about any achievements that you've done. So again, click on any and then continue. So once you've finished the 4 pages of questions, this is the results page. So you'll find here in the pink section, these are all the questions that you ticked, and these are all the skills that match up with those particular questions. And then over on this side is your skills bank, and that's where it shows you your top to bottom list of skills. So for instance, I ticked 4 questions, and that matches up with resilience. And so my strongest skill at the moment is resilience, whereas I only ticked 1 for computing skills, and so I've only got a 17% match there. And so this just gives you a record of the skills that you've currently got, and obviously as you move up through school, you'll get more and more skills. If you feel that you do something that hasn't been captured in the questions, you can click on add your own example. So for instance, it might have been that you, I volunteer at a local nursery, whatever it might be, and then you can click on the skills you think that has given you. And then that will be updated within your skills bank. So all the time you're trying to capture anything that you have done or are doing that will allow you to identify the skills that you've got. So that's a pre-16 skills map completed, and once you've finished that, you should find that you've got a tick next to that within your career tools. So the next thing we're going to do is just go back to start with you, activities for your age, year 8, and see what the next activity is for us to complete. So you could go on to this bit, which is quizzes, and there are a few quizzes that you might want to do, again, to find out more about you, your likes and dislikes. So if I click on quizzes, and this takes me to the quizzes page, and you'll see here that there are a couple of quizzes that you could do. So we've already done the pre-16 skills map, so no need to do that one. You could click on the Careerpilot job sector quiz or the I Could Buzz quiz, and each of those quizzes will give you an idea as to some of the jobs that you might be suited to. So if I click on Careerpilot job sector quiz, this is a series of pictures or things that you think you might want to do in a job. So do you want to work indoors or outdoors? Do you want to work with animals? Do you want to work with money? Do you want to work in a hotel? And you tick all the things that you think you'd like to do within your career. And then once you've finished each of the pages, and I've done this earlier, you then get a series of job sectors that suit your likes and dislikes. So for instance, I got a really strong match because I ticked lots of things that sort of show that childcare might be something that I would be suited to. So now I know this, I can simply click on the blue bar, and it gives me an option of childcare, education and training. So I can click on any one of those and start to find out more about this particular job section. If I want to bookmark this, I click on this little plus here, and I can tag it and say at this point I'm just exploring it. But if I'm definitely interested in education, I could have ticked the green box. So now I'm exploring education. I can read a little bit about it. I can then click on this pink button, which is job profiles, and start to look at all the jobs related to education. Some of these you'll be familiar with, but some of them you might not be. So take your time to really explore each job sector and find out more about the types of jobs within there. So I might be interested in being a football coach. So I'll click on that, and as you'll see now, it brings up all the information about being a football coach, from the salary, so that's the annual salary, how much you get per year, and this is the average for 2018. So you can see that it's a massive range for a football coach. The variable working hours suggests that football coaches could work very few hours, or it might be that they work very long hours, they might work weekends, they might have to work in the evenings. So again, it can be a wide range of working hours. Some jobs will have a set working hours there, like teachers and so on. So it just does depend. It gives you an idea as to the working week that you'll be expected to do. This number here, 2%, tells you if there's likely to be an increase in demand for that job or a decrease. So because it's increasing by 2%, people are predicting that there will be a slight increase in the demand for football coaches in the future. So staying on the same job profile, you can scroll down and find out all the things that football coaches will do. And this is really the important bit. How do you actually get to be a football coach? And it tells you the types of pathways that you might be able to do. So go to college or start an apprenticeship, and it tells you there that really you want to be getting some sort of voluntary work, and you want to be really trying to get some qualifications maybe through your local football club. There's a graph that shows you where the jobs are, so in London and the South East, but there are jobs in other places, and that will vary depending on which job you're looking at. Again, there's lots of other information in these sections, and there'll be videos related to that particular job or job sector. Now down at the bottom of this page, and we're still on football coach, is a list of all the skills that are needed to be a successful football coach. So you can start to see, because these are your results from the pre-16 skills map here, you can start to see which skills you've already got that fit with the skills that are required, and maybe skills that you might need to work on. So that will give you an idea as for the next few years which things you can start to do, and you'll get a few ideas as to what to do. So have a look at various different job sectors, and all the time you can be looking at each one, and you can be adding that to your job sectors, which will appear within your career tools, so that you can share that with any supporters that might be helping you and with your decision making. So that's exploring jobs and job sectors. So if we just go back to the activities that you need to complete, and again this is all explained on the worksheet that you can download as well. We go back to Year 8 activities and check we've done number 1, we've done number 2. You might have completed the quizzes, and by completing the quizzes that will have given you some ideas as to which jobs you can explore. And so you've been exploring jobs and job sectors and bookmarking them as you go along. So the final couple of things that to do, you might want to start with a subject. So you might have a particular subject in mind, or you might be in the middle of trying to think about your GCSEs and choosing your GCSE options, or that might be happening in Year 9. So you can go in and you can start to look at various subjects. So let's pick geography. And you might start thinking about the types of jobs and careers that geography might lead to. So again, just going in and having a look at those things. So let me get back to that. So we'd clicked on start with a subject, geography, and so you can simply start to look at all the things related to geography. And you can pick any number of subjects and start to find out more. So let's start with a subject, and then the final thing within the activities is to start exploring your options. So this is number 5 on the list. So you could start looking at choices at 14 to get more ideas about how to choose your GCSEs or your vocational qualifications. Or you might want to look further ahead, and you might want to start looking at your post-16 options and starting to explore A-levels, apprenticeships and so on. So just really starting to think of some of the things that you want to do. And then if you're really keen, you can start planning what you're going to do. So you might want to set yourself some actions, and it might be that you speak to somebody about their job and find out more, or you might start thinking about any voluntary work you might do in the future or work experience, and that might be something you can do here. And you click on new action point. So ask Dad about his job, find out more. You might want to do that whilst you're thinking about your careers. Click on that, give yourself a date in which to do that by, and you'll see that that's saved. So I've talked you through the various activities that we'd like you to do, and as I said, these are all explained on the worksheet as well that you can download. And just to show you what happens when you do all of these activities, you'll start to complete your career tools and save things that you've looked at. So for instance, I've clicked on my job sectors, and in there you'll see that I've tagged childcare and education. I've also tagged design and planning. And then these are all the job profiles that I've looked at. If I wanted to tidy this up, I could just quickly click on the cross and delete them. So you should have there a list of all the jobs that you're interested in, and you can look at those at a later date again. And again, these are the jobs, the results from my job sector quiz, so I can easily go back and familiarise myself with the kind of jobs that I might be suited to based on the answers to my quiz. So they're all the things that you might want to look at. Just a quick sort of check. There are videos as well that you could be looking at that might help you choose your career. And if you simply go back to the home page, all of this is there. Okay, so you've completed all the activities hopefully and found out more about your skills and the types of jobs that you might want to do in the future. Some of you may have looked at these particular sectors at the moment, so think about how they're being affected by the current pandemic, and that might influence what type of job you might want to do in the future. Obviously science is really important at the moment, healthcare, the retail sector is changing, and so on and so forth. So again, have a think about how things might look in the future, because that might influence the decisions that you make over the next few years. You should hopefully now have things within your report. So if you click on the View Your Report button within Careerpilot, you should have started to build up quite a lot of information that you can start to share, and it's all saved there ready for when you do go back to school, whether that's sooner or later. And as I said, that moves up with you each year. And so fingers crossed it's been a useful introduction to Careerpilot and got you thinking about what you might do. If you fancy winning a £10 Amazon voucher, you can complete a SurveyMonkey survey and give feedback on the site. We're always interested to find out what people think. So if you want to do that, the survey can be found at the bottom of the home page, and the box looks a little bit like that. And if you click on the arrows, you'll soon get to something that says give feedback. Click on find out more, and it will take you just a few minutes to give feedback.